This is a spiritual conversation between Abhinavagupta and his disciple Ramdeva. In the ancient, snow-kissed valleys of Kashmir, under the ever-watchful gaze of the Himalayas, the great sage Abhinavagupta sat in quiet meditation at his modest hermitage in Pravarpura, modern-day Srinagar. His renowned wisdom in the realms of Tantra, aesthetics, and Kashmir Shaivism had long been a beacon for countless seekers. Among his devoted disciples was Ramdeva, a sincere seeker whose mind brimmed with profound questions about life and the ultimate nature of reality. One cool autumn evening, as twilight bathed the rugged landscape in gentle hues of purple and gold, Ramdeva approached his guru with a heavy heart and an inquiry that had troubled him deeply. Ramdeva asked, "Guruji, I have been pondering the mystery of death. Many say that death is merely the end, but I wonder, could it be that death is not an end at all, but the awakening of the present sleep of reality? In other words, is death the moment when we awaken to the true nature of existence?" Abhinavagupta opened his eyes slowly, as though emerging from an inner trance. He smiled warmly and motioned for Ramdeva to sit beside him under a spreading banyan tree. He replied, "Ah, Ramdeva, a most profound question indeed. To understand this, you must first consider the nature of sleep and awakening in our daily experience. Have you ever noticed how, when you sleep, you remain unaware of the world, as if in a deep slumber, while upon waking, everything becomes clear and vivid?" Ramdeva nodded, his eyes fixed intently on his guru. Abhinavagupta continued, "Imagine your ordinary waking state as a dream, a world of illusions and transient forms. Just as a dream conceals the underlying reality, our everyday mind is clouded by desires, fears, and illusions, Maya. In this state, we live as though we are separate from the infinite, even though deep down, the eternal truth is our very essence." He paused and then continued, "Now, consider death. Many fear death, believing it to be the cessation of life. But what if death, like the awakening from a long sleep, dissolves all the veils of illusion? In that moment, the dream of the separate self shatters, and one awakens to the boundless reality, the true, unchanging self that has always been present." Ramdeva's eyes glistened with the light of emerging understanding. Yet, he sought further clarity. Ramdeva asked, "Guruji, so you are saying that death is not the annihilation of life, but rather a return to our true nature, an awakening to reality as it is?" Abhinavagupta smiled, his voice gentle and reassuring. Abhinavagupta continued, "Indeed, my child. Just as a sleeper remains unaware of the true reality until awakened, so too do we live in a state of slumber, identifying with the transient body, emotions, and thoughts. Death, in its mystery, is the moment when the dream is ended. The I that we believed was bound to the body awakens in its unbounded form. This awakening is the realization of the infinite self, where the dualities of life and death, joy and sorrow, vanish like mist before the morning sun." He then picked up a smooth, clear stone from the ground and handed it to Ramdeva. He said, "See this stone. In its solid form, it appears unchanging, eternal. Yet, when you hold it in your hand, you feel its cool, subtle presence. In the same way, the true self is like this stone, unchanging and eternal, hidden beneath the layers of our waking life. Death simply strips away those layers, revealing what has always been there." Ramdeva closed his eyes, absorbing the imagery, feeling as though a great mystery was unfolding within him. He asked, "Guruji, I now understand that death might be the final release from the dreamlike state of worldly illusion, a moment of pure awakening where we realize our true nature." It is not something to be feared, but rather embraced as the ultimate revelation. Abhinavagupta nodded and placed his hand on Ramdeva's head. He said, "Yes, my child. Embrace this thought, for in understanding that death is not an end but an awakening, you begin to live life with fearlessness and profound reverence. When you see beyond the transient, you will experience life as an eternal play, where every moment is a step towards awakening." That evening, as the first stars glittered in the vast Kashmir sky, Ramdeva felt a deep inner peace, a knowing that death was not a termination but the unveiling of eternal truth. He resolved to meditate on this wisdom, allowing it to dissolve his fears and illuminate his path toward self-realization. Moral of the story: 1. Our ordinary state is like a sleep, filled with illusions that veil our true nature. 2. Death is not an end but the awakening of the infinite, unchanging self. 3. When the dream of the limited self ends, one awakens to boundless reality. 4. True liberation lies in recognizing that life and death are but transient states on the eternal journey of the self. 5. Death is not the extinguishing of life, but the unveiling of the eternal light within. Om Namah Shivaya.